Good morning, students. In previous session, we have started with kingdom Plantae, completed division Algae with Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. Then we have completed Bryophyta with liverworts and mosses. We completed Pteridophyta, which are terrestrial vascular cryptogams with Psilopsida, Lycopsida, Sphenopsida and Pteropsida groups. And then I have completed fourth division, which includes conifers, well-developed plants, non-flowering, naked seeded, that is division Gymnospermae. These four divisions you have to learn perfectly under kingdom Plantae. As per 30% reduction, need not to study fifth division Angiospermae, but next few chapters what we are learning, they are based on angiosperms. So at least as a knowledge part, we need to learn angiospermae. So in this session, I will just brief you the fifth division with well-developed flowering plants, enclosed seeded, fruiting plants which are included in division Angiospermae. In division Angiospermae, a typical plant body is sporophyte, a plant producing spores. Now this sporophytic generation is dominant in all gymnosperms. Some plants are hydrophytes living in water. Some plants are mesophytes living on the soil. Some plants are epiphytes living on other trees. Some plants are parasitic. Some plants are achlorophylous. They don't have photosynthetic pigment. This typical sporophytic plant body is having two systems. Descending axis is root system. Root systems are of two types: taproot system, fibrous root system. These two are true roots developing from radicle. Radicle is embryonic root present in the seed. So on seed germination, radicle grow down as a primary root, which retains throughout the life of the plant, producing primary, secondary, tertiary branches with the root hairs. This provides maximum anchorage to the growing plant, which are perennial. Their absorption capacity is also maximum, and such plants are with taproot system. Another group, radicle grow as root, but it is short-lived, it will die. From that point, there are many branches of the roots. These are superficial, as the plant is seasonal or annual. Absorptive capacity is less compared to taproot, and this root system is said to be fibrous root system. Maybe taproot or fibrous root, both are developing from the radicle, a embryonic root in the seed. If other than radicle, the root develops from the stem, from the leaf base, then it is said to be adventitious roots. So in Angiospermae, we find taproot, fibrous root, adventitious roots. They show lots of modifications, either for food storage or for mechanical support, for climbing purpose, for trapping the food and water from the host body, for respiration and so on. There is ascending axis of the plant body. It grows towards light. It is said to be shoot system. Main axis of the shoot system is called stem. If you see the stem, which is cylindrical with junctions called nodes, the distance between two nodes is called internode, and from the node usually the leaf develops, making an angle with the stem. It is known as axil. The stem not only providing support to the leaves but also produce the buds in the axil, which are blooms into flowers for sexual reproduction. So leaves are helping in photosynthesis, stem helps in conduction of food and water, and the flowers will help in sexual reproduction. The root stem, leaf. In most of the angiosperm, they can propagate. Propagate means these are called vegetative parts of the plant body. They modify to give rise new plants. Then it is called vegetative propagation. It is a kind of asexual reproduction. It is quite common in angiosperms. To bring about sexual reproduction, I already mentioned you that they produce flowers. Now flower is highly condensed modified shoot for sexual reproduction. This flower is having modified leaves arranged in the form of whorls. Whorls means cyclic arrangement. So there is a calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So far we have learned the words Antheridia, Archegonia. But here it is androecium and gynoecium, highly modified structures. Andro referring male, gyno referring female. And see here, these two essential whorls necessary for sexual reproduction are protected and supported by calyx and corolla. Like this, the most evolved features we can see in angiosperms compared to algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta and gymnosperms. Androecium has special structures called as microsporophylls or stamens, and gynoecium has the members called as carpels or pistils. Now in stamen there is an anther, and in carpel there is an ovary. Anther of stamen, carpel of ovary, in which microspore and megaspore generated. So see here, microspore highly protected within the anther, and megaspore is also highly protected within the ovary. Microspore represents male gametophytic, highly reduced stage and microscopic. We cannot see them by our naked eyes. And megaspore, which develops as an embryo sac, which is 7-celled 8-nucleated structure. Okay, this we will learn further. At present, you just remember microspore is a male gametophyte, megaspore is a female gametophyte. There is a process called pollination, where the microspores are brought towards megaspores. And when microspore is deposited on the stigma of a carpel, it starts germinating. On germination, it gives a tube-like structure. Now, 2 male gametes are released here for 1 female gamete. In the ovary, female gamete is waiting, highly protected by number of layers. Out of 2 male gametes, 1 male gamete fuses with the egg. It is called syngamy, giving zygote. Another male gamete will fuse with the 2 nuclei present below the egg. It is called central cell. So already 2 nuclei are there, N. This is another N joining in the form of male gamete. So it becomes 3N. So it is triploid primary endosperm cell. So as you know that first fertilization is syngamy giving zygote, second fertilization is triple fusion giving primary endospermic cell. Thus, in angiosperm, double fertilization takes place. And the post-fertilization changes includes formation of embryo from the zygote, which is nourished by endosperm. It is formed by division of special antipodal cells with primary endospermic cell. It is a nourishing mass. So here embryo is developing inside the ovary. So an embryo develops, it is protected by the seed coat that we call seed. And once the seed development is completed, the entire ovary part becomes fruit. So ovary becomes fruit and ovule becomes seed. This is how the life cycle of angiosperm is completed. In angiosperm, 2 classes are made: monocotyledone, dicotyledone. Monocotyledone are seasonal, annual or biennial plants. Dicotyledone are usually perennial plants. Seed with 1 cotyledon having endosperm. Seed with 2 cotyledon without endosperm. They usually have fibrous root system, monocots, while they have taproot system. They produce leaf lamina with parallel venation, and they produce leaf lamina with reticulate venation. They produce flowers where each whorl having 3 members, so we call trimerous flowers. Here each whorl of the flower having minimum 5 members, so we call pentamerous flowers. This is how monocotyledonate and dicotyledonate are differentiated. Grass is an example of monocotyledonate, even the maize, and maize sunflower plant is example of dicotyledonate. With this, I will conclude Kingdom Plantae by learning general characters and classification of division Angiospermae. Kingdom Plantae, let me complete by telling you 3 patterns of life cycle where haploid gametophyte alternates with diploid sporophyte. Diploid sporophyte alternates with haploid gametophyte. So here either post-zygotic meiosis or pre-zygotic meiosis occur. There are 3 patterns we need to remember in Kingdom Plantae. Haplontic life cycle, which is observed in algae. Haplodiplontic life cycle observed in Bryophyta and Pteridophyta, and diplontic life cycle we observe in Gymnospermae and Angiospermae. Let us come to the haplontic life cycle, where I already mentioned you a thallus plant body in algae which is floating on the water surface. It may be green, red or brown algae. They produce gametes by mitosis. So here mitosis will give rise gametes. Gametes are haploid. These gametes, when they undergo fusion, they become zygote. This is the only stage where unicellular zygote is showing 2n condition. Immediately after zygote formation, meiosis occur. 2n reduced to n, and from one zygote 4 spores will develop. Again the spore remain haploid. It germinates as colony or a filament, become a thallus. So in this life cycle, only for some time, that too after fusion of gametes, it is showing diploid stage. So rest all stages of the life cycle, they are with n number of chromosomes. That's why it is said to be haplontic life cycle. Here post-zygotic meiosis occur. This point you need to remember. Coming to haplodiplontic life cycle. In Bryophyta, dominant is gametophyte. By mitosis, it produces gametes we call antherozoid and egg. They undergo fusion giving zygote. So zygote is diploid. Zygote develops into sporophyte. Sporophytic plant produce spores by meiosis. Now each spore is haploid, which will germinate into new gametophyte. So here gametophytic stage is haploid, producing gametes by mitosis. Sporophytic stage is diploid, producing spores by meiosis. So half of the life cycle they are in haploid state, remaining half they are in diploid state. That's why it is said to be haplodiplontic life cycle. While in in well-developed plants under Kingdom Plantae, Gymnospermae and Angiospermae, here gametophytic stage is highly reduced, where a sporophyte dominant stage of the life cycle produces spores by meiosis. Spore itself contain male and female gametes. They undergo fusion to produce diploid zygote. Zygote develops into new sporophyte. So only gametic stage means gametes are within spore. So these two are one and the same. So microspore having male gamete, megaspore having female gamete. So here only gamete stage is haploid. Rest all phases of the life cycle are diploid. That's why it is called diplontic life cycle. Here pre-zygotic meiosis occur. There post-zygotic meiosis occur. Here gametes are produced by meiosis. Their gametes are produced by mitosis. With this, I will conclude patterns of life cycle in Kingdom Plantae. With this, we have completed third chapter in Unit 1, Diversity in Living World. First topic is Living World, second is Biological Classification, third is Kingdom Plantae. Thank you very much.